Okay, now in this video, we're going to be talking about your copywriting template. And I'm going to say here at the outset that there are some resources that you can get as part of this course that you will be able to download. And as well, you'll want to start thinking of this by pulling out maybe another document, maybe something to write with. And as you are creating these pieces, these copywriting pieces, you'll want to write them in to a Word document so that you can cut and paste them or give them to a designer, or so they will be easily transferable into your sales page builder. So now each of these elements are probably necessary in terms of being able to properly communicate to your potential buyer. And you want the sales letter obviously to convert. You want it to do a good job for you. So now, that having been said, you want to go through each of the basic elements, and we're just going to spell those out for you here. Now, in particular, you're obviously going to be starting with a good headline. The headline is designed to grab the reader by the throat. If you are doing a video sales letter, the first thing you're going to say is basically your headline. You're going to be basically getting their attention. It's comparable to if you were physically in their presence. This would be comparable to you grabbing them and shaking them. Okay, not just grabbing them by the throat, but grabbing them and shaking them. You want them to wake up and to hear you, and that's the tone that you want to set with your headline. You are then going to move into what I call the story. The story. Who are you? Why are you writing this letter? Why is it that they've come to the page? What attracted them here? What is it that you have to offer them? Of course, you're not going to start talking about the product, but this is basically a connection point, right? This connection point you're making with them is the story. You are saying to them, they are you, right? Because you're telling them who you are, but while you do that, what you're doing is you're making the connection point. You want them to say, hey, you know what? That's me. The person you're describing, right, is me. You start talking about the fact that the problem that they've come here to solve, you once had it. Here are the things that you suffered with. Here are the things that you were dealing with. You're creating that connection in the story. 2 paragraphs is the maximum. Doesn't need to be much longer than that. Doesn't need to be a long dissertation. Should just be 2 brief paragraphs making that connection, and you want them to say, hey, that's me. I am the person you're describing. And then when you start talking about the problem, you want to transition into what I call the worst case scenario. In other words, if they can relate to you, what's the worst thing that could happen? What if they continue in their current state and that problem continues out to its logical conclusion? What's the worst case scenario? Could they get fired? Could they lose all their money? Could their wife or husband leave them? Could their kids disown them? Could their parents no longer speak to them? Will they no longer have any friends? You want to take their situation and run it into the worst case scenario. Remember the classic marketing formula is problem, agitate, solve. Right? So you're agitating the problem. You're then going to solve it. You're just going to introduce the problem. Introducing perfect a perfect weight loss system. Introducing the perfect money system. Introducing the perfect teen parenting bulletproof guide. Whatever you're introducing, the product introduction, you are introducing this product as a solution. You just talked about the worst case scenario. What's going to happen if they continue on down the current road? Okay, then you're going to start talking about benefits. Now remember the deal with benefits. Benefits are not features. Features are what your product is and what it does. Benefits are how those things that their product does, how do those things benefit your reader? How do those things benefit your buyer, your potential customer? What would they give them? What will life be like for them if they choose your product? What will life be like for them? Can you take them and through imagining right? What it's going to be like for them. And when you do this, here's a kind of a tip for you. You want to keep things tangible. Don't talk in terms of abstracts. Don't talk about things that are invisible. Don't describe things like confidence, right? Confidence isn't visible, right? You want to describe confidence in a way that they can visualize it, something that they can see. So everything you describe as much as possible when you are doing not just the benefit buttons, but the sales process, tangible, things they can touch, feel, and see. The next thing you're going to start talking about is proof, credibility, third-party verification. Your concept works. Here's why we say it works. Here's why we say this is something that you should be considering. Now, this is not your testimonial. This is proof. 3 out of 4 doctors surveyed says. A scientific study states. A New England Journal of Medicine states. You want to have third-party verification from a credible and authoritative source. Proof and credibility. You are establishing credibility because you're saying basically, hey, there is someone else who says that this thing really matters. Social proof, right? Social proof is your testimonials, right? You should have someone who can attest to your expertise. Even if you're selling this membership for the first time, someone who can say, hey, I've listened to the recordings, or I've been with Jack for about 10 years. He knows what he's talking about. You want to have credibility. You want to have testimonials about the product, about yourself, about delivery, about something. Right? Even if it's a new product, you should have some testimonials about this. You're trying to get people to pay you on a monthly basis. Right? So you should have some credibility. You should have some social proof. You want to take away their risk. Right? Take away their risk. Now, this is where your 30-day bulletproof money back guarantee is going to be stated. As many of those power words as you can. No hassle. No questions asked. And you can use those words liberally. Right? It doesn't matter if you use 2 or 3 of those phrases in the same thing describing the guarantee. You want them to get it in their brains. 30-day, no hassle, no questions asked, money back guarantee. Right? Make sure you write out your guarantee according to your product. Don't just take it face value. Fit it to the product or service you are marketing. Scarcity. Okay? There is a limited amount of time. There is a limited quantity. There's some limitation. They're not going to be able to get this price. They're not going to be able to get the product. They're not going to be able to get it beyond Tuesday. There should be some hard and fast limitations. Now, listen very carefully. If you state scarcity, hold to it. If you say there's only going to be 40 copies sold, then you want to make sure that they know, right? They know that there are 5 copies left, 6 copies left, and after that you don't sell anymore, right? Scarcity means scarcity. It means real scarcity, because if you implement false scarcity, you'll never get anybody to take your sales page urgent again, right? They'll just say, well, you know what? I know he says that, I know she says that, but she doesn't really mean it. She doesn't really mean it. She said that the last time it was midnight, and then at 3 in the morning I was able to get it. If you say something about when they're going to be able to get it at some price, then make sure you hold to that scarcity. It really does need to be scarce. Call to action. Okay? You want to make sure you're telling them in your copywriting, hey, hit the buy button now. Hey, go now immediately to save. To avoid disappointment, hit the buy button now to get the maximum benefit. Understand this, right? If you are putting together a dynamic, if you are truly doing what we have suggested, which is to over-deliver on the content, then you want them to get it, right? They should want to get it. This is in their best interest. So don't be hesitant in telling them, hey, go now and hit the buy button. Of course, and you want to add the buy button. Now, here's the thing about testimonials and the buy button. You can add those throughout the throughout your sales letter after the product's been introduced. Right? You can add them throughout. You can use your testimonials as a way to break up your sales page. Right? You should be adding them, sprinkling them around the page. Get as many as you can and just sprinkle them here and there throughout the page. Okay? A postscript. In other words, PS. PS. Right? PS. And when you do a PS, what you're bringing them back to is you're bringing them back to some benefit or the scarcity. Remind them. You have to remind them. You just told them what to do, but you have to remind them that, hey, you know what? If you don't take advantage of this, hey, you're going to miss this because it's going to go away at midnight for certain. Right? Remind them, because that reminder sometimes will be enough for them to take action now. You want them to take action now. You don't want them waiting till they had a chance to think about it, till they had a chance to talk to their spouse. You want them to buy when they're ready. Of course, now in the resources area, there are some things that you can download that will help you with the sales letter process. There is also training available for you also. So this is what your copywriting template structure should be. Now you should be writing your sales page. I mean, that's really the next stage. You want to use each and every one of these templates, each one of these elements in writing your sales letter, because you're going to take that sales letter and you're going to transfer it into JVZoo. Okay. Now, one of the things we're going to talk about, of course, is we're going to talk about how you're going to get that graphic form. But for the most part, the most important thing is the copy. So if your copy is not good, okay, and you have the best graphics in the world, it's not going to sell as well as it could. Right? You want to make sure that your copywriting is on top of the situation, that it is making people want to take action. That is the key to making sure that your copywriting is working. When you put it inside of JVZoo, it should be working for you. Okay, so with that, thanks, and I will see you in the next video.